Hi, Dr. Wallace.
Hey, good morning.
Thank you so much for
Hello,
joining us. Beautiful.
welcome.
All right. So thank you, everyone. Welcome back. So we are now going into a very important part of our program. This panel that we're about to have will highlight a story of hope, of healing, and really the strength of community. Uh, Today, we make peace for honest conversation, shared wisdom, and community support. We remind ourselves that recovery is possible. And you heard some of the points from I'm sorry, from Junie in terms of ways of supporting people and the treatments that are out there. But we want to encourage people to be able to seek treatment, and so a big part of this is really sort of, I don't want to say normalizing it, but really helping people understand that they don't have to be shamed to the point where they can't seek treatment. We want to support them, right, and destigmatize that. And nobody should have to walk this journey alone. It's not a fun one. And we want to have that collective responsibility to show up with empathy and education, and really with the tools to help them do that. So today we're going to hear from someone who courageously faced addiction for many years, but has risen from it, and living a life of purpose and of recovery. I'd like to welcome Mr. Franklyn Peter Moses. Welcome, Franklyn. Franklyn is a professionally trained media practitioner from Dominica with extensive experience in radio and TV broadcasting, in marketing, and in commercial production. A gifted writer and voice talent, he has created content for private, for corporate, for nonprofit organizations. His life took a dramatic turn several years ago due to addiction, homelessness, and repeated psychiatric hospitalizations. But he emerged from that into a powerful journey of recovery and transformation. Today, he's a voice of hope for others who are suffering from mental health and addiction. A proud father of 6 and grandfather of 5. Congratulations, Franklyn. Franklyn is a living example of resilience, reinvention, and redemption. He's now the senior news and special programs anchor at Q95 Radio. And Franklyn will be joined by a very close friend of his, Matt Peltier, and many of you also know Matt from the radio, whose presence and support helped anchor him through the storm. So Matt, as I said, is also a very popular media host in Dominica for over 30 years, trained in television and radio broadcasting. He's served in correspondence with Radio Antilles, Voice of America, all of the old shows that you know, BBC Caribbean Report. And he served in many other capacities, Catholic Radio Voice. And today he's a very public figure, hosting one of the most popular talk shows in Dominica, The Hot Seat, as well as Talk on the Block. So many of you also know Matt. And lastly, our final panelist is Dr. Nadia Wallace, psychiatrist, who will offer her insights on clinical and emotional complexities of addiction. So she'll give the clinical perspective. Based at the Acute Psychiatric Unit of Dominica China Friendship Hospital, Dr. Wallace is the leading psychiatrist on the island of Dominica. She's actually the only psychiatrist serving a population of over 60,000 people. So she plays a very pivotal role in national mental health initiatives in Dominica, and including the WHO-affiliated Mental Health Gap Action Program Intervention Guide, training and public awareness campaigns addressing suicide prevention and workplace mental well-being. Welcome, Franklyn, Matt, and Dr. Wallace. And I'm going to start off with Franklyn. So, we're honored to have you join us today. Really, really excited to have you on with us. This is going to be really impactful. So, Franklyn, I remember you on the radio when I was a child, hearing you on the radio, funny, full of energy, and just, having that passion and again, speaking so eloquently, and you still have that. Um, I want to ask you to sort of take us back to the beginning of your journey as a prominent entertainer in Dominica and radio figure, and help us understand what led you to substance abuse. When did you sort of start to move in that direction? And were you aware of it? What sort of symptoms did you experience?
Thank you very much for the opportunity to be real and to interface with the naked truth of my unfolding reality and my journey into recovery. I accept this invitation to unlock all hidden truths and to shed some light on the realities of everybody's impact, receiving or giving in society. I woke up this morning reflecting that sometimes we have to be broken vessels in order to be chosen vessels, and sometimes we don't anticipate the trajectory of our life. Though we know we want to get to a certain destination, but the journey, we knew the journey would be so uh, disappointing, so sometimes hopeless, so dark. Maybe we would not embark on it, but we made stronger and better. We have broken for purpose. And I'm sure I'm not the only one to celebrate these hours and moments and weeks and months and years of sobriety. But in order to embrace sobriety, you've been down with society. So basically, done all my life, when I was growing up as a cannabis, I always had a sense of connectedness, a deep sense of keen sense of purpose. Not realizing that the things that I was thinking or anticipating or observing as a child, everybody was going through those things. So when I began to get a step in a different phase of my life, let's say from the age of
Franklyn,
consciousness,
you're breaking up a bit.
When I began
Can you hear me? You're breaking up a bit. So I can see the mic in front of you. Maybe you want to hold the mic part of your head.
I am. Okay. So is that?
Yeah, I think that's moving around, and so your voice.
So okay, I'm going to try. Is that better?
That's better.
Okay. Can you hear me now clearly?
Speak again.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Can you hear me clearly now?
Yes.
Okay. So I basically was saying, so my consciousness as a teenager, I always felt that I was called for more, but more that I didn't really know. So in school, I was always the comedian, not knowing that I was comedy. For me, that was natural expression of just trying to be funny. And then my school teacher said to me, well, you're talking so much. Well, actually, he wrote on my report card, if Franklyn Moses does not take himself seriously, he shall fail all his exams in June. That was that. Now they have all kinds of CXCs, but there was called GCEs, General Certificate of Education. And that hit me hard. But he says, well, your family fool so much in class. You are emceeing the show, the teenage pageant, the Calypso show, the St. Mary's Academy show. And I was like, no, I don't think I can do that. I'm safe in school, but not on the stage. But then, however, I heard the guy, the MC who was in my place, he said some kind of nonsense like it has been chosen by consensus. I heard what? Consensus? No, I can do better than that. I went up and I took the mic, and that's it for me since then. And then that was my stepping stone to becoming, confident master of ceremony. But interestingly, after having entertained millions of people, hundreds of thousands of people, being the first on the World Music Creole Festival, people like Ziggy Marley, all the Jamaican stars, third world, etc., all the calypso shows, queen shows, OECS shows, junior pageant, teenage pageant, from people from Maxine Nightingale, the Platters, you just name it, Ziggy Marley. I would go home and drop and crash and burn. Just at it self-medicating, understanding, because I move in the trajectory. I'm here, I'm pulling down heaven, I'm making people laugh. And I go home alone, walking alone, still thinking maybe I could have done this better, I could have said that better. And let me crunch this story. So I've been working in media, and I write a lot, I think a lot, I read a lot, I interface. My mentor stand again and say, fam, read everything from philosophy to pornography, but read. I would consume one of these books from Harlambos to Nietzsche, Friedrich Nietzsche, to just name them. So I was in tune with the universe. Then I went to work in Antigua, and there I planned in my mind. I plan. I don't plan to wait. I don't wait to plan. I plan to wait. I plan and I wait. I said, in 7 years, I want to be somebody or something, a management. 7 years, I become the manager in ZDK in Antigua. That's when the depression hit, because I've been going through that labyrinth all the time, unable to pinpoint what it is. Went to England and stayed in England for 6 months, came back, and I started to act out. I was told, but I could recognize it. But not knowing that I'm well dressed, all in black. I have a bag in one hand, the right hand, bag in the left hand, one on my shoulder, one on my back. And I'm convinced that I'm okay. People in Dominica said to me, well, they saw and they saw that I was not okay. I was okay. In my mind, I'm okay. Anyway, I was admitted forcefully to the psych unit in Dominica. That intervention happened 1, 2, 3, 4, like from 2008 right until 2022. In and out, in and out, in and out, treatment back out, treatment back out, treatment back out. I will talk about, if you ask me about what I think are the triggers, because I can identify the triggers of that. But bipolar disorder was diagnosed. I don't know what bipolar was, because I think everybody would have great highs and great lows. Everybody could think like me, write like me, think like me, speak like me. Think the thoughts that I was thinking, though some of them were really outlandish. When I say outlandish, but really, really spectacular, colorful, fluorescent thoughts. And then I would have real dark thoughts, like really not dark as to, like suicidal, but dark like, why am I feeling so gloomy, overcast? Not only partly cloudy, really overcast. And I've been going through this roller coaster all my life. I'm punishing myself because I'm not only self-medicating. So now I get into cigarettes at the age of 13. My first rum was at the age of 13. VP rum, a little thing called VP rum and vampire rum. That. Then I began to develop a great capacity for the absorption of all types of substances. Great capacity. Will take me half a forest of marijuana to get me high or to keep me high. It will take the entire distillery to keep me drunk. So then I embarked on, when I came, I had interface with cocaine, crack cocaine, 35 years prior to my last episode. But there was a doctor here in Dominica called Davinder Sharma. And the time I was confident enough that I knew, I think I got hooked because somebody gave me, and I was deeply spiritual at the time, that they see how this inconsistency regarding the physical substance gene I may have had. And I was just private prayer and worship, deeply steeped in beyond the veil. The guy offered me some marijuana, which I used, and it really allowed me to connect spiritually. And it was laced with cocaine. So I got hooked. And I'm going to tell you, the first high you ever get is the best high. Never again you get that spend billions of dollars if you have it to get back. Really, in truth, you want to move that. And so you spend all your time because it.
So Franklyn, you're going in and out again. If you can again, just keep the mic to your mouth.
Okay, so
much better.
Right. Okay, is that better? Sorry.
Yep, much better. I think as you move your hand.
Okay, overspoke a little. Yeah, no. When I get into the phone, sorry. So remind me to stay because I'm going back in certain places and I've tried to shut some doors. So I'm opening them and I'm trying to move quickly through the corridor so I don't go back and trip back. Okay, sorry about that.
Okay.
All right. So what was I? Yeah. So then I interfaced with because when I came from the States in 2019, came to Dominica, I wanted to vote, and I didn't get a vote, but then COVID hit, and then Trump says, if you're out of America, don't come back in, and if you're in America, don't go out. And then my visa ran out, and I was in Dominica, I became homeless. I became homeless, and then there's COVID, and then I was living on the street, marketplace, on the street, on the bayfront, everywhere, and nobody really took me seriously. Nobody was asking, are you okay? We see you here. Open to it. That guy kind of felt a little let down. I felt a little hopeless, a little disarmed. However, having been on the street, I would talk about all the folks who assisted me and all the food, the days when I went with the fair food, no food, where the next meal is going to come from. Then, I got beat up, I got robbed, I got into fights, lost, almost broken bones, everything like that. But however, I'm a survivor. And then I was admitted at second. I'm trying to remember the events that led up to me, but I think Dr. Wallace is the one who insisted that I be brought in, and I was brought into the psych unit, and she made some decisions that changed my life, without my permission, and will forever be grateful in that I was held in at the psych unit, became a permanent member of the of the psych unit for almost 3 years. That rescued me. Sorry. Um, because for the first time in my life, I did not have the creative authority to say where I go, what I do. I was able to rest for the first time. I was able to get medication, the right treatment, the proper counseling, and to be. And what it did, it separated me from the need for dependency, for wanting to prove myself, or having to go to a show. It disconnected me from the urge for drugs. It disconnected me. So it was necessary for me for that platform. So I want to suggest to those who don't think you need a medical intervention. It can work, it will work, and it has worked for me, and I can confidently and proudly say that. And then continue to that. One day when you read my book, you will find out I retraced some of the triggers, things that happened to me mentally, abuses physically, emotionally, psychologically, sexually, and otherwise, but I don't think from this time at this time. And so I could connect the dots and realize, well, it wasn't my fault because I was blaming myself. And people was a bright man, sorry, I don't want to move. Well, a smart man like you doing nonsense like this. And I'm like, a pretty person like you asking a dumb question.
Yeah. So I want to ask.
It progressed. Yes.
Yeah. No, that's interesting. And one of the things you mentioned in the beginning, you said that other people saw in the very early stages, other people saw it, right? They saw you were acting weird. You hadn't really seen it. But then you mentioned when you were living on the street, nobody asked any questions. And I think that's where, the stigma comes in, right? Nobody wants to say anything, even if they're noticing it, right? It's so stigmatized. But then Dr. Wallace intervened. And so I want to bring in Dr. Wallace a minute just to sort of understand from you, Dr. Wallace, what sort of signs, and I know you knew Franklyn before, he got to that point. What signs did you see that told you that you had to intervene at that point and take him to the unit?
Good morning, everyone.
Understand, what to look for, what sort of signs and symptoms tell you that a person has gone beyond and really need some intervention.
Okay, well, thank you very much for having me here. It's a pleasure being here this morning.
Thank you.
And it's nice meeting you. I've been speaking to you.
I know, we've been talking on the phone.
It's nice. Yes, it's nice to finally see you.
You too.
Okay, so hi, Franklyn.
Hi,
Yes, so Franklyn, as I mentioned to you, I knew Franklyn for over 30 years. I met him the first time over 30 years ago. And I remember when I returned from studies and I saw Franklyn on the streets, I was surprised. I got home and that was one of the first things that I saw. And I was like, oh, this is Franklyn. And it really touched me in places, that I always remember. And I kept, immediately I felt, no, I can't see Franklyn like this. I can't see Franklyn like this. Knowing who Franklyn was, I remember how much he contributed to Dominica, the talents that he had. And it's like, this is not right. This is not right. I have to help Franklyn. So Franklyn, he was admitted a few times to the unit while I was there, admitted, got better, and was discharged. And again, he given reassurance that, yes, I'm not going back on the road. I'm going to stay off drugs. And a few weeks after, I'll see him on the road again. And it just coincided. I said, the next time you come on, you get admitted, I'm not going to send you out. So when Franklyn was admitted that final time, almost 3 years ago, he got better and everything. And I said, I brought him in And I said, Franklyn, listen, I have been seeing you on the streets, and to me, you kept saying that you were not going back, but every time you keep going back, I'm not going to send you home this time. I'm going to leave you on the ward, and I'm going to see if I'm going to see how I can help you. We need to get some of support. I know you have friends, you have your family. So we reached out to Franklyn's friends, reached out to family, reached out to the people that he, in his fraternity, the media fraternity, who we knew he was very close to. And persons came on board, and we all tried to put our heads together to see how we could get Franklyn the support that he needed. We went as far as trying to identify a home to get him to stay in a home, because you have to understand the psychiatric unit is to treat persons who are acutely ill, and once they are better, they're to be discharged. So this was not really the ideal setting for him. So he wanted to get him to a home where there was some kind of structure, that way he could continue taking his medication and he could be kept away from the drugs. And we tried, we were almost successful, but then that failed. So he again continued to be with us. And he was there, and just kept hoping that, we could get someone who can come and get Franklyn back, try to reintegrate him slowly into what he knows, slowly into society, so he can learn to live that life that he once knew. And that's what we did. That's what we did. So every opportunity we got to get him involved in things that he used to do prior to coming to the ward, we would engage him in that. We had like we had the APU annual concert. He was very integral in that. He helped out with our ad. He was happily working with us like he used to. Whenever there were shows, persons would reach out to me and ask me whether he could be part in the show. He could, be the MC. And I was very happy for that. It's like, so every opportunity that we got to get him to do what was him, and we would engage him. And then Matt came along. And Matt was a constant. Matt would call me every day, almost every day. Doc, I'm coming to get Franklyn. And I'll give him a stern warning. Matt, make sure I am entrusting Franklyn in your care.
Yeah.
Do not let me down. Do not disappoint me. I do not want to see Franklyn on the road. Make sure you supervise him. Because if he's not supervised, I will not allow him to go with you. And Matt gave me his word. So there were times I would, and there were eyes on this out there, people who were not even affiliated to the unit, but who knew, they who recognized what was happening. They would call me. So I would get calls from FA. Hey, Dr. Wallace, I'm seeing Franklyn here, and he's all by himself. He has nobody with him. So so he didn't know that.
But
I was
looking
out all around, and I said, Matt, I just got a call. Where's Franklyn? I was like, oh, the doc, he just went to do this. I know I'm close by. It's like, okay, remember, make sure he's okay. Make sure he's always supervised. So this is what this is what happened. So we had the entire community looking out, and Franklyn didn't know that, but there were a lot of people in the background asking about him, and wanting him to get better. And it's like, so we all work together, rallying around Franklyn. Persons he know of, persons he doesn't know of. And that's what got him to, and so Franklyn and Matt was there, all the time. And then there was, and it's like, okay, doc, people will tell me, I've been seeing him and I think he's ready, doctor. From what we're seeing, we think he's ready right now. You think we can give him the chance? So I'm saying all this to say it was a collective decision.
It sounds like
a collective decision,
and I think, on a small island like Dominica, I think where everybody knows everybody, right? Even if you don't know them, you know their family. I think that probably made it a bit easier versus, for example, here in the US. But I think Matt is on the line now, so I want to bring in Matt. Matt, can you hear me? Matt? Someone told me he was on. Is he on? All right, so why don't we continue? Maybe not.
I don't think so.
Okay, that's fine. So Dr. Wallace, before we go back to you, I'm going to bring Franklyn back again. And Franklyn, I want you to just give me a sense, Give us a sense of how this really impacted your life, your quality of life, your ability to function daily. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, the transition is still ongoing because, as Dr. Wallis said, it was a collective effort. But for many people, and I don't want to start to count on the number of individuals who I'm now working closely with, or rather, who is working, who has been and is continuing to work closely with me. And being all of you, all who many people watching at this point in time, you have no idea how that connection with you outside of the framework of the hard function of the actual psych unit is doing for me. Um, at James, but Matt, we've been friends, but we were just friends. We were colleagues. We've worked together on almost every radio station. We have experience. So much so he's my first son's godfather.
Mm.
And that is
Matt, I think Matt is trying to speak on the Alison Peltier's line.
Matt, are you on?
Yes, I'm here. I'm here.
Yeah,
Oh, great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So we heard from both Franklyn and Dr. Wallis about the part that you played in Franklyn's recovery.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to bring you in to just share with us what made you intervene, what made you come in, because Dr. Wallis said Matt came, so you came out of nowhere and you were the savior. Tell us what triggered you to intervene. Franklyn being your friend, you guys on the radio together. I'm sure you saw what was going on. What sort of signs and symptoms did you see in Franklyn that told you that he needed help and you needed to do something now?
Well, before he went into the psych ward, I was instrumental in getting him to the rehab in Trinidad. And then we went to New Jersey to do a show. But when he came back, and he was doing well that time.
Yeah.
When he came back, I saw him on the street one time, and I tried to give him some food, and he told me, "But Matt, F you, boy." I said, "F me." And he wasn't really worried. I don't know if he understood what he just said. And somebody else came to me and they say that Franklyn was walking naked on the street. I said, "Franklyn."
Wow.
I said, "No." And I found out he was at on the ward. And I reached out to Dr. Wallis and I said, "Doc, I'm going to be a guide for Franklyn. Because I know that this guy has super talent and he has to be helped."
Yeah.
So I reached out to him and, I have to pick him up daily, every day, twice a day. If I'm not in the island, get somebody to work with him. I was dedicated to the cause. So it was a cry for help. I was seeing there and I said, we had conversation. I said, "Franklyn, we have to be on that journey. We have to complete this journey."
Yeah.
And I would, take him to, let him do things that he enjoyed doing. And I realized, he was getting better every month. And, sometimes he'd say, I want to go back. I want to go back to the psych unit. I'm feeling tired. He had his moments, but I never gave up. That's basically what happened.
That's amazing. And thank you so much for doing that. You are a heaven sent, and I'm sure Franklyn appreciates that so much. I'm just wondering, with the stigma and shame and blame associated with this, with substance abuse and with addiction, were you ever faced with, the case where people thought that you were probably doing it too, the fact that you were hanging out with Franklyn, they know Franklyn was doing it? Because a lot of times people refrain from helping because they're afraid of what people are going to say and what they will perceive of themselves, right? So I'm wondering how you dealt with that, if you had to.
Well, a lot of people actually reached out and say, "Matt, you don't have time for me." So it's Franklyn, you want to hang out with these days, you're not making time. I have some close friends who said that to me. I was like, this guy needs help. And nobody's reaching out to help him. He had media friends who would come and just touch and go. But I said he needed more. So I gave him the time I think he needed. And, whatever people said didn't bother me at all, because I have a brother also who's a drug addict. And I've been trying to help him over the years, but he's just not listening. Franklyn was willing to listen and learn. And that is, and my brother's still into drugs. I'm trying my very best. He just doesn't listen.
Yeah.
But you have to get to the time when you say, you know, enough is enough.
Right.
And, you know, he was willing to let my brother still on the streets, you know, doing what he have to do. And my sister is right there. She can share that story as well. So it was a journey, but it was well worth it.
Yeah, yeah. And Franklyn, what about your family? How did this impact your family, your children, your spouse?
Oh, well, the same, what coincidence, the very same son of mine who is the godfather of his former teacher, my former teacher also, the late Coffee, would come and call me. He called me once when I was really shattered on the street. And that even shattered me more when he said to me, you know, you're affecting your son. Your son is just sitting in the class and staring into outer space.
Mm.
And I was so disconnected. Is when he said that to me, it gave me a little grounding.
Yeah.
Because I didn't realize. Because let me give you a little snippet into the mind of a person who's out of it. You are on earth, but your mind is not scrambled, it's focused on something else. It is on because as Doc would correctly say, I don't know, they call it delusions of grandeur. You are in a place where you think that you want to be, but you're there. Or then you are at that place or space is uncomfortable. But
you're breaking up again, Franklyn. So don't move your head too much. Just keep the mic. Yeah, don't move your head too much because then you go in and out. Yep.
So you're in another place that you do not want to be, but you are there. And what and all of my friends, I think you know yourself that don't leave out anybody, but your present life is like changing the word that every time
Franklyn, I'm sorry. I'm going to interrupt you again because I really want people to hear this. Can you hold the little part of the mic of yeah, hold that little mic that's on your headphone to your mouth.
And can you no?
Not yet. Talk
Is that
again.
better?
That's better.
Okay. So I would just say everybody touch me in the continue to do that, bring me comfort for their words, for their presence, for education, for meditation, or for even their silence, you know. And there were two instances I remember. One lady when I was on the street, and I will never forget that one in particular. She came and she stood up by me with something in her hand, and she stood up by me. Now, me in my own mental space, I'm saying, what is this woman standing up by me? Look at how she's well dressed and she's so cute and whatever it is. I'm watching her, but she's not watching me. I'm standing up opposite All Saints University. I'm towards Scotiabank. She's looking down the road, down Hillsborough Street. And she's there for 3 minutes and not saying a word. And then all of a sudden she just musters the courage and says, hey, you want this, Mr. Moses? And I'm like in shock. She stood up by me not knowing whether or not I was in the right frame of mind to answer her yes or no. That is my deduction, you know, if we're connecting after she had done what she had done. And I'm saying, okay, was I scary? Was I unapproachable? Am I dirty? Am I smelling? Am I, you know, what? And then I understand some people go above and beyond just being sympathetic to becoming empathetic. And that's one of the things that I was able to get in touch with, that inner self of mine, of people, of humanity, having faith in humanity. Because I got a lot of beatings and bad words, and some people spit in my direction. And I was like, what have I done to deserve this? You know, I felt helpless, hopeless, and forgotten and abandoned. So when Doc and Matt in particular, you see, one of the things about Matt is that he was consistent, in that he is consistent. And I don't know if I would do that for him. And now I'm able to reach out even more and commit the rest of my life to helping, even if it's just 1, 2, 3 people, by using Matt's example. Matt has been consistent. Matt takes me to play. I've been to San Silver for the first time in my life. 60 years I'm on this earth. First time I've been to San Silver. I've been to places that, but he takes me places it's like drinking water for him. You know, his family is my family. His daughter calls me Uncle Franklyn. His son is like my son. His home is my home. But I'm not saying it, I mean, that happens for everybody, but it is beyond my expectation. Being that bridge, the builder of the bridge gapping because I was at the psych unit, as Doctor mentioned. I didn't know, Doc, You keeping secrets from me, Dr. Wallace. You keeping secrets from me. Okay. So, but what happened is while I was there, she allowed him to help me bridge the gap from being like, because I would be in the hospital. I know I have to, as he said, I have to go back because I've become accustomed of the safety of the psych unit. But I like the freedom of going back to work. And while I was at psych unit, and I'm going to say this for the world to know, I had more money saved through Matt engaging me with encounters of production and businesses that I had saved in my entire lifetime.
Yeah.
And there was somebody, I don't know who it is, I want to say thank you. For the first time in my life, somebody put a substantial sum of money, a couple thousand in my account. I don't know who it is. But certain things people have done, but with Doc and Matt and Faye and Amy and I don't want to call because they have a long list. And I just came from supermarket when and I just saw another guy there, and he's watching me, and I know two of them, as a matter of fact. Matt, the same guy who you interviewed, Vanley, he's there, and he's like, Moses, he comes up and says, boy, I smoking a little less, I'm going to come like you in a while. No, these things mean they're important to me because I don't go to them. I let my life be an example, and they come to me, they gravitate towards me because I understand I will come back in the shoe. I have lost 15 people. The last one I just lost is my friend at age 14 committed suicide because of bullying and other things in his life. And then, his mom says he was talking about you. So I think that my life has an impact. I didn't choose this trajectory. I know I have an addictive personality, so I don't drink, I don't smoke. Don't drink around me. Matt knows. Well, thank you, Matt. Matt don't drink, Matt don't smoke, but he may have an occasional thing. So I'm in good company. So we like it. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't want marijuana, I don't want cigarette. Not because I don't want it. My body just rejects it. The atmosphere, the environment is a framework and your mind and your approach. And I thank everybody who's contributed, you and the organization in Boston, the friends in New York, all over the world. Because people in Alaska knew I was doing crazy stuff. Can you imagine that?
Yeah, well, what gets wrong? What gets wrong? But it's such a powerful, it really underscores the importance of that family support, friend support, that base, right? You had people who were advocating for you behind your back, right? Who had your back, who wanted to see you recover. So I think that's so powerful. But I think,
can I just say one thing, please? Can I say this one thing? I'm appealing to those watching me right now. I did not get here in this position of recovering by myself. I'm asking you, the conduit, the corridor, you don't know with somebody doesn't be your blood relative. Could be somebody in your community that you are the person God has assigned to assist, be there to help a person under a human being. And it's time we become responsible for and live up to the expectation. And it doesn't have to be much. Mark may have been a commitment of a couple of years. Yours may be a cup of water. Yours may be a listening ear. Whatever it is, I'm asking and I'm begging you, please pay and be aware and be conscious of your environment and the persons who God has put in your life to show the direction to recovery, and you will receive that reward.
Well said. Well
in
said.
Jesus'
Powerful
name.
statement. Very well said.
And I think Amy had a question. Amy had her hand up for a while.
Okay. Amy, go ahead.
Any question?
Oh, hello, everyone.
Hi, Amy.
Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you.
Yay.
Okay. I was actually writing this question in the chat, but I wanted to kind of throw my hat in here in the conversation because this is such a very personal and important part of my life as well. And I have had the pleasure of meeting Franklyn in 2000 and maybe 21 or 22, early in his recovery during a manic phase, and we met at a bar, and he was not yet quite in his wellness, but I haven't had walked the road through mental health challenges myself, recognizing the symptoms, was able to point it out quickly, and I personally have had deep experiences with mental health issues, both as an individual and also my daughter also had to be, had a short stay in a psych facility in her senior year of high school. So both as a parent and as an individual, I've also had to walk that road to recovery. And quite recently, actually, for the grace of God, that Franklyn just mentioned, we reconnected. Franklyn and I have reconnected, and we're right now, I think, both kind of joined forces and are putting our collective talents into the pool to collaborate on multiple ways to offer a place, a space for people who are suffering with mental health challenges and to find a way to recovery, find a modality to recovery, find a non-judgmental space even where they can come and just tell us what's going on, and that we all know the support of community is so important. And if we all were Franklyn Moses, then we could all count on the community to support us like they did. Thank you, Dominica. It's part of why I moved back here, is that there is community. But in lieu of that, having a forward momentum and being able to offer some pathways for people who are struggling is just kind of where we are aligned. Franklyn and I are aligned on that. But the question I wanted to ask is, what would you consider to be your biggest tool in your recovery, and also what fuels your continued commitment to wellness? Because I myself know that it is a daily struggle. It is sometimes moment by moment struggle to maintain your grounding and your centering and your footing, and to sometimes even stray from that and return back to normal. So what do you consider to be what gives you the most benefit that helps you to maintain your sobriety, maintain your commitment to wellness, and also to fuel every day for you?
Great question, Franklyn.
One of them, a number of them, I'll just precede them. One of them is having accountability. I think I'm now accountable to, I want to, for Doc Wallace, I am accountable to you. I submit myself to you. Matt will call me, not like, you know what, Franklyn, where are you? And the previous boy in me stands up as a man and says, I am on my way. I am doing this, and that. No more bullshit. No more hiding. No more. So that's one. That's one. So then there was the power of reconciliation. The fact that I don't want to go back there. I've reconciled with the reality that I didn't. It was a good experience, but it's like perfume. It smells good. It tastes bad. And the fear of that's two. Number three is the hundreds of people I know I will let down. Silent people who just come up to me. There's a lady, it happened twice, and the person put a little piece of paper in my hand and just like, just one said, thank you. I don't know for what. It just said, thank you. I don't know for what. I was walking on the road, she said, hold on. And then there was the expectation of, well, I shouldn't say expectation. The joy of being, there's a certain time in my life, just recently, I was with a friend, and he says, well, let's relax, let's have a drink. I tasted a little bit of wine at 11%, and I wanted to vomit. I'm like, okay, I've arrived. Without my permission, and as for me, I still feel I want to like maybe get a little higher. No. It's just been suffocated and dried up from my system. So that when somebody passes me, I say to myself, smoking cigarette, I said, that's how I should smell, you know? So that's 3. And 4 is my surrender to God. In other words, I'm watching eyes and say, well, I come face to face with myself. I am not perfect. Every day I walk on the crutches of grace. I have grace on one side and mercy on the other side under my arms that's carrying me. Every day I say, I wish I could fix that. I wish I could fix it. I say, God, and I hear God says, my strength is made perfect in your weakness. Don't ever think that I'm all that. That's why I'm happy when Matt will ask me, where are you? So if you think you know you're all that, you know. So every day I walk cautiously, I wake up, I say my devotions, and at the end of the day, I review my day, and I say, okay, that's one day I put it in the bag. And then the last one is that I have a long-term goal. And every day, every week, that's why Amy and myself, we meet, whether spontaneously or agreed upon a time, we meet, we go somewhere, and we write down what we are going to do. Because I don't think it's my thing alone. And so we're looking for everybody to assist us when we start with the projects and the program, along with Doc and Matt and the rest of Dominica. Everybody, the whole of Dominica is going to become a rehab. Everybody's house is going to be rehab. Your backyard is going to become a rehab. Your family tree is going to become a rehab. All your healing herbs is going to become the Dominica is going to be the rehab center. Not only rehab, no, forget the word rehab. It's going to be the wellness and well-being and journey to recovery sanctuary in the entire world. We have water, we have sunlight, we have food, we have nothing people. We're going to get back to the good man. So help me establish the Franklyn Moses Foundation for Wellness and Wholeness and Well-being and Counseling in Dominica, the Caribbean, and the world. It's going to happen whether I'm alive or not. It's going to happen. We're not going to plan to fail. We're not going to fail to plan. We're going to plan, and it's going to one mind at a time. Because mind is everything.
I really love this. And Amy, thanks again for sharing. This is, I mean, Dominica does not have a facility right now, and I'm so excited to hear this. And I want to continue that conversation with you guys after this event and see how the high can support. I really like this. But before we close,
and we have another question. Jennifer Abraham has her hand up for a question.
Oh, Jenny.
Hi, everybody. I'm so blessed to be on today. I want to thank Alicia, my former schoolmate, who sent it on a group chat. And last night late, I just picked it up and I said, Franklyn, oh my gosh, I have to, because Franklyn and I have been on the phone through all his struggles. I'm praying, and he would bring me to the place where most of the young boys would be there, in the drugs, and he would bring them to me and I would pray for them. And all of them, I know all the young ones in Dominica, they are stuck in that. They want to come out. But the Lord have blessed me recently to purchase a house. But the house that I purchased in my heart, I have devoted it to the Lord, that to help, use that house to help however way I can to get the young men and the young women the help that they need. And I was just praying and saying, Lord, how am I going to start this? I mean, I haven't got the education in that field and whatever. So just being on here today is like I want to cry. Second of all, the person that owned that house, I know that person, that's how the house was built, with that money. And I purpose in my heart, I will not use this house to make money. I will use this house to give back to Dominica what was stolen from our young men and our young women. So however way I can join in helping, in Dominica with this, it will be just a blessing for me. Thank you.
Oh my God, Jennifer,
Absolutely.
thank you. Thank you so much for all you do. Oh, I'm sorry, Franklyn, were you saying something?
No, that's okay.
Have me almost in tears. This is so exciting.
Yes.
So exciting to hear, and things that are truly needed on the island. Were you going to say something? I have one more question I want to ask. I would be remiss if I don't go back to Dr. Wallace. Dr. Wallace, with the surge of suicides that are happening in Dominica right now, 7 per week was the report that you put out. What sort of strategies are being put in place in Dominica to sort of handle that surge and deal with this? I know we don't have a facility, but Franklyn and Jennifer and Amy, they're people who are genuinely wanting to help and are taking it upon themselves to do something. Is there anything from a governmental perspective that's happening to deal with that surge? Because these numbers are just crazy.
Also, Anne-Marie, I think it's attempted. The 7 is attempted, not actual execution. I mean, it's a difference. I mean, it kind of leads to it. Yeah, just still, keep in mind.
Yeah, still striking. Dr. Wallace, jumping here.
Yes, I've highlighted over the past few months that I have been seeing an increase in teenagers who have been attempting suicide. Teenage girls, teenage boys, and the most of the time the risk factor or the direct cause is either bullying, child sexual abuse, or the family dynamics. And these are the three most common causes that we find. Now, persons who I see at the acute psychiatric unit with any relation to suicide whatsoever are those who, after they've attempted and who continue to be at risk, then I would admit them. I would admit them to help them and to protect them from completing this. And that during that intervention, we would bring in persons who are related, persons who are included, persons who can make a difference in whatever stressor that person, that child is going through. Now, you have to understand that those that I see are those who actually make it to the hospital, but there may even be others who attempt and who don't make it to the hospital. Okay, so it's I'm in the amount, and when it comes to the factors, the contributing factors, it varies. It's vast. It's no one cause, but there are so many risk factors. We have depression, for example, that has, as we know, the prevalence has increased worldwide. So Dominica is no different. And as depression, one of the symptoms is, suicidal ideations, plans, or even attempt. We have also the chronic conditions like high blood pressure, diabetes. A lot of persons who suffer with this, they do also suffer with depression. And again, so that may be a contributing factor. And we have all the different stresses that people face, and the stigma and discrimination that people face daily that prevents them or makes it more difficult for them to seek help when they need help. The lack of awareness, persons, not understanding what mental illness is all about, and whenever they are faced with mental health issues, they because they're not aware, they tend to seek help from places which are not going to really benefit them. And what we'll have is we'll have that condition, the worsening of the condition, of the conditions, and by the time they reach to us, it's too late. So I'm saying all this to say there is, we have begun on a drive to increase the awareness, to sensitize the public to the importance of mental health and the issues of mental illness, so that they can actually have hopefully with this increased awareness, there will be a change in their attitude, to persons, to themselves, and also to persons who have mental health issues. Now, recognizing that it's only me in Dominica on island presently who is a psychiatrist, recognizing that there are limited resources and there are much less resources than the need for care. One of the attempts that I've made and the drive is to see how we can educate other persons. So one of the things that we've done is I've engaged with collaboration with PAHO. We did the MH-GAP training to the mental health workers, and that was really done with the aim of increasing their knowledge and empowering them so that they will be better able to identify persons who have mental issues, assess them, diagnose them, and manage them. And so that's for the mental health workers. There is another wing of this where there is the MH-GAP training for community health workers, that is non-medical personnel, persons of influence in the community. So this is the next step to go. We have 7 districts in Dominica. So the next step is to go to each of these various districts and try to, well, identify with the help of the district medical officers who are on the ground working in primary healthcare, to see if we can they can help identify key persons in the community, so we can also train them to be able to be, like on the ground, like the gatekeepers on the ground, so that they too can help in identifying early enough persons who have mental health issues and who can support them, their family, their caregivers, and also bring them in when, to the healthcare workers whenever they need help. So this is where we are going right now, and we are hoping that, persons with, will come on board and assist, because we need to work collectively. No one person can do this alone. I can't do it alone. The psychiatric unit can't do it alone. We really need to have a community approach, to in tackling these issues that we're dealing with right now in Dominica.
Yeah.
Can I make a comment, Anne-Marie?
Yeah, real quick. I know we're at time before people start.
I just want to, of course, congratulate Dr. Wallace. She's been doing a great job. But the issue of the legalization of the drug marijuana, and I know you have to strike the balancing act because government is pushing that. But in the same vein, research has shown that we have had an increase in mental illness because of the view that government has legalized and make this drug even more available to the young people in Dominica. I just wanted your view on that.
Yeah, very, very, very important. And that's all over. In the US, it's the same. So it's not going to help. But thank you so much for sharing that, Matt. And thank you, Dr. Wallace. This is really wonderful that you guys can do that training for even just the local public to be able to assist you, because there's no way you can do this alone for a population of over $60,000. But I know we're at time, so I just want to thank all three of you guys. Franklyn, thank you so much for sharing your story. Amy, thank you for joining in. One of the most powerful ways of educating is by people sharing their lived experience. It resonates with people, and I think most importantly, it triggers them to take action. And they see that they are not alone, that other people are going through this. So I'm really happy that we were able to do this. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to